Hi, my name's Donna and today we're talking about archetypes, specifically the Magician Archetype. So today I'm going to cover what an archetype is, the 4 key characteristics of the Magician Archetype, how you can embody these in the workplace, so essentially how you might show up with them and how you'd spot that in others. And I'm all about recognising the archetypes, and it's a brilliant way of gaining insight to yourself and other people. Let's get into it. The archetypes are based on a book by Gillette and Moore, and their book was called King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, and they explored and showed us about the archetypes, the male, masculine archetypes. This particular video is about the magician, and we're going to look at the key characteristics and how you can embody them in the workplace today. So taking those broad archetypes and bringing them into the workplace. So there are 4 I'd like to bring to you, and the first one is that the magician archetype is a master of wisdom and knowledge. So to be that archetype, you are very truth-seeking, you're very concerned with getting a really deep understanding of the workplace, its intricacies, how it works, the systems, the processes, and you're very good at seeing those intertwined and how they work together. And because of that, you can see things from different angles, so you really do have that 360 view. And as a healthy magician, you can see the pathways through, you can see those incredibly easily. So when you're embodying your magician archetype, that's the sort of thing that you can bring in terms of that wisdom and knowledge. You're very well versed in your field, your area of expertise. People will come to you to ask for the details, the technicalities, the how-tos, and you're very thirsty for knowledge. You want to know that level of detail, you want to know all about it, you make it your business to know. So that's where you master that wisdom and knowledge. It's not this just skimming the surface, you know it inside out, and you're happy to share. Which brings me on to the second one. The second characteristic is that you will act as a mentor or as a guide for others. You're not one of those people who are like, well, I've nailed this, I've mastered this, and I'm going to pull up the ladder and, you know, nobody can touch me up here. Absolutely not. You're very happy to share your knowledge, share your understanding, share your hacks, share your tips, show your expertise and help others to learn. People will come to you, you will take them under your wing, you will show them the way. You are very magnanimous in that respect, which is a very positive thing. You like to see people develop, you like to develop yourself as well. So that's another key characteristic. Not unusual for you to be a teacher, a counsellor, a mentor, the kinds of roles where it might be a paid job, but it might be that within the area that you work in, that's how you're seen. So that role is ascribed to you by others in the team. The third characteristic of the healthy magician is that of having a key role in transformation. Now, I'm pretty sure, based on what I've said so far, you're not surprised to know that you're key in transformation. But this is a very specific way of looking at it. This isn't, oh, transformative leadership. Yeah, it's that. It is and it isn't. It's more than that. So it's your ability to pull information together and to make more of the whole than the whole ever was. So it's really about creating dynamism where there might not have been. It's about being innovative. It's about bringing often disparate aspects together to unearth something completely new. It might be an invention, it might be a completely new way of doing things, a complete new angle of approaching things. And that is where your magician archetype really steps into the fore. Because you can see this and you can see how its potentiality and how it can be done. And what's more, the way that you work, you bring people with you. You are happy to guide, to teach, to mentor, to bring people along. But the way you work is really quite novel, and people will come to you and they they won't anticipate fully what it is you're going to say or what it is you're going to do. So that's that magician archetype coming to the fore. It's alchemy in the workplace in very many ways. It's pulling this and it's pulling that and winding them together in ways that haven't been seen to bring something new. A really concrete example of that is, well, you might have a project manager, has a project to lead, and you can anticipate it can be really quite linear. And this project manager ends up tapping into other teams, into other disciplines, and bringing a much richer outcome. You'd argue that the outcome's predetermined for project managers, but my point is around the way of thinking and around building things and around pulling in other aspects that might not have been seen before. And that's where you see the real magic happen. And the fourth characteristic I want to bring to you is about the healthy magician having an absolute greater awareness. I've kind of touched on it in the way that things are pulled in together, but your magician really has a very deep knowing. And yes, some of this will have been learned from the books, and some of this will be, you know, great deep study and being qualified to do this particular role that the magician archetype is in. But there's more. It's an inner knowing. It's a deep knowing of self. It's an awareness of the connectedness between, well, everything really, and an honouring of that and drawing upon this inner wisdom. Sometimes, you know, you'll be like, well, how do they know that? So you'll have your magician archetype will draw on their intuition. They will just bring it in. They will just drop that in. They're very open to the spiritual, broader aspects. They'll see patterns that we don't always see. They're very interested in human dynamics. They're very interested in the subconscious, how that works, how that influences themselves, but other people, and how we can work together in ways we just didn't imagine to bring that together. So you get that picture of this archetype that is a big mixing pot of all sorts, and just out of that grows some fairly amazing things. So it feels kind of otherworldly in some respects, and you know, the naming of the magician archetype kind of invokes that as well. But what is, you know, that bring that to the workplace, you will see those characters, and you might be listening to this and be like, yeah, okay, that's me in very many ways. So with that insight, there is a detachedness as well. There really can be. There can be limited kind of getting on board with the story, the drama, the gossip around things that kind of can be a little bit aloof, a little bit looking at, I'm not getting involved in the story, but I can see the absolute big picture. I can see the strategy. I share the strategy. So the other side of the magician archetype is the shadow. And we're going to look at the shadow in another video. And in there, you'll learn about when the magician archetype is less kind of magnanimous and positive. So until then, good day.